everything you need to know about Korea University's Korean Language Center. More like everything I can tell you, but hello people. My name is Ganesia. I am from Indonesia. I studied in KU KLC all the way from level 1 to level 6. I first started in December 2023 and I finished in May 2025. So it was exactly 1.5 years for all 6 levels. I have a master's degree in engineering, but I am now a content creator. So I'm taking this Korean language course just because I love languages. My content mostly is about languages. A lot of people are also interested in the program, so that is why I have compiled all of your questions. I packed them up into this one very comprehensive video. So let's get right into it. So what is KU KLC? Is it a university degree? The answer is no. It is a Korean language course, which means you don't get a degree if you finish. Even if you graduate level 6, you get a certificate from the language school, and it's also different from the TOPIK exam, which is the Korean proficiency exam. So level 6 in KU KLC does not mean you have a level 6 in TOPIK. Although the levels are kind of similar, even though the materials are kind of different. So I do have friends who are in level 6 and they did get TOPIK 6, but I personally didn't do TOPIK yet, so I don't know which level I'm gonna get. I took the regular course, which is the most intensive one, 20 hours a week, so 4 hours a day, Monday to Friday. There are other courses available, like just a summer program or just a 3-week program. You can search for all of that in the KU KLC website. What I find interesting is that Korea's biggest universities, Sky universities, you know, SNU, Koreode, Yonsei, and then also Sogang, Ihwa, a lot of these big universities actually have their own Korean language courses. And a lot of these are normally for foreign students who want to then study in the university, but it's separate from the university itself. Which means if I take the Korean language course in KU, I don't have to be a KU student in the future. For example, I can go to another uni, or I don't have to go to uni at all. It is a very separate thing. So if you're planning to take one of these language programs, I actually urge you to look through different universities. Sky University is the most famous one, but amongst language schools, like Sogangdaehakgyo is also pretty famous for being more like speaking practice based, but I think KU KLC has a pretty good amount of time spent for speaking practice. So I'm happy with the speaking practice I got in class. The courses are different but kind of similar, so you should do your own research and choose which university, which program is the best one for you. For me personally, why I chose KU KLC instead of the other universities is because I had an acquaintance who actually went to KU KLC like a couple years before me. She's actually how I found out about these whole Korean language programs in the first place, because I didn't know that you can learn a language in a language program that is like from a university. I thought it was just, you know, hagwons or tuitions that are like private based. One of the best things about doing it in a university is that you have this university surroundings and environment. It just makes you want to study more. Also, because Korea University is one of the top 3 universities in Korea, there's a sense of pride of studying in KU, because that's also my dream since I was a kid, going to a top university abroad. So what kinds of people can benefit from KU KLC? All sorts of people. To be fair, in like levels 1 until 3, most of the students are actually just finished high school and they want to start their bachelor's degree in KU or in other universities. So a lot of them are actually pretty young. I'm 26, so I'm always one of the older ones, but as you get to the higher levels, like level 4, 5, 6, a lot of them actually want to go to the master's degree because they already have a bachelor's degree, so the age range also kind of goes up. That's probably because for bachelor's degree, they have a lower requirement of Korean language rather than master's, which normally requires like a level 5 or 6 TOPIK. Some people also want a change of work, so they want to do something Korea related. Some people, like me, are just doing it for fun. I mean, a lot of people take it as like a gap year. I have a lot of, especially like Japanese people, go to Korea, do working holiday for a year and then go back to work in Japan again. Next, let's talk about applications. The requirement for KU KLC is actually really low. Like there's no test, there's no limit to how many students come in. They're not gonna really look at your grades. All you need is a minimum of a high school degree. There are some other documents that you can check in the website, but you will get in as long as you have the right documents. If you already have a bachelor's or a master's degree, then you can also submit those. It's just that the minimum is high school. As I studied in 2024, our youngest in class was born in 2006. I feel very old with them, but for the other end of the age range, I don't think there is an age limit because my friend from another class had a classmate who was in his 50s. The guy was from Belgium. Me personally, the oldest in my class was born in 86. She's 39. She's from the US. It's really a big range. And then in the mid-range, you have like the 90s kids. When you apply, you can't say that, oh, I want to start from level 3, I want to start from level 1. There's actually a placement test. In your application form, there's a paragraph where you have to do 자기소개, self-introduction. If you don't write it in Korean, you're automatically starting from level 1. If you write in Korean, they're gonna grade that based on like your Korean level. There's also an online interview with a teacher before you go to Korea, like before the course starts. They're gonna ask you questions like an interview, and then the questions get harder and harder. So the more questions you answer, the higher level they can put you in. I kind of stopped at like this third question. They asked me like my name, I could answer. They asked me what time it is, and I'm like, I haven't memorized numbers at the time, so I'm like, okay, level 1 it is. So the interview ended in like 1 minute. It's okay if you don't know Korean at all. They will know because the person interviewing you is actually a current teacher in KU KLC. So they know their materials, they know what they're teaching, and they know exactly what level they can put you in. If you already have an existing like topic level, I don't know, 2 or 3, then you can also send that in the documents, and I think that's gonna help them adjust like which level they're gonna put you in. Now, in terms of visa, there's no specific visa that KU requires per se, but for example, like me, if your main reason of going to Korea is to study in the language course, then they can give you the required documents to apply for the D41 visa, which is the language training visa, which makes you like a student, but you're not like a full university student. And the D41 visa is maximum of 2 years, which is enough for you to go all the way from 1 to 6. You have to extend every 6 months. But you can also do this program with other visas. For example, my Japanese friends, they came in with working holiday visa. I have a Russian friend who's married to a Korean guy. She has an F visa, like a family visa, and she's still studying. So in terms of visa, the school doesn't require a specific visa, but if you need a visa to go to the school, then they can give you this person is enrolled in KU, and that document you use to apply for your visa in the immigration or in the embassy in your own country. So that's separate from the school, but the school can give you the, hey, this person will be our student document. And for other visa requirements, it's very case-by-case basis, so I suggest that you just go through the Korean immigration website. It's very comprehensive, better than what I can tell you in this video. Next up, let's talk about the levels in KU KLC. So I took the regular program, which means there are 6 levels, and each level is 3 months each. That's why I can go from level 1 to level 6 in 1.5 years, because I kept on passing my levels. And yes, you can fail levels. As a matter of fact, the higher level you go up, the more classmates actually fail for various reasons. Either their grades aren't enough or they have too many absences. And yes, like absence is very important in Korea. So we have 200 hours of class per semester, 20 hours per week, 4 hours a day. And if you have 40 hours of absence, then you fail that level and you have to retake it. If you have over 80 hours of absence, you're actually banned from Korea University, and you might get in trouble for your visa because you're not a student anymore. Technically, there is a level 7, and I actually have a few friends from level 6 who are now taking level 7, but level 7 is for research. There's not actually books, like course books for level 7. It's more like media, they show you videos. It's more like you doing your own paper, I think. There's maybe like only one class with like 10 people in level 7 as compared to like 14 people per class, and multiple, like a lot of classes. Like in level 1, there were like I think 20 classes of 14 people, so there were like hundreds of students, and in the whole school there's around 1,000 students, I would say. Now there are also level skipping tests. So for example, you come in and you're in level 2 because you were assigned level 2, but apparently it's too easy for you, so you can take a test to skip to level 3. After you finish a level, you can also take the level skipping test. If you pass a certain grade, then you can actually like skip a level. In terms of extending a semester, normally the sign up for the next semester happens in the middle of the current semester. And in the beginning, when you first sign up, you can sign up directly for like multiple semesters. You don't have to just sign up for one. For example, when I first applied, I signed up for 3 levels, so levels 1 until 3. And then when I was already in level 3, I extended to level 4, and then when I was in level 4, I extended to level 5, and in level 5 extended to level 6. I have personal reasons for that, but just saying, you can sign up for multiple levels in one go and pay for it upfront. Or you can also extend per semester, depends. There's also no minimum or maximum number of levels that you can take, but you sign up per semester instead of per level because you don't really know if you're gonna pass. And in terms of visa, after you already arrived in Korea, you can extend your residency or like your ARC in Korea, so you don't have to like leave and then come back if you do choose to extend your stay. Next up, let's talk about the classes. So as I said, I joined the regular program, which means it's Monday to Friday, 4 hours per day. There are 2 sets of classes. Either you take the morning class, which is 9 o'clock to 1 p.m, or you take the afternoon classes, which is 1:45 to 5:45 p.m. Before each semester starts, you can sign up for either the morning class or the afternoon class. But for me in level 1, I signed up for the morning classes because there were too many people. I was put to the afternoon classes. However, after I became a student, for all the next levels, I got first pick of the class I want. I think it's just for the new students that they allocate depending on whether or not there are enough seats. In one class, there's an average of 14 people, but after half the semester, like 2, 3, 4, 5 people would just drop off for various reasons. Like either they just go absent. People have different reasons for going absent in class. In some cases, they actually need to extend their visa for another 3 months because they're waiting for like university applications. So they intentionally fail one level because they need to just retake it the next level. Or some people are just coming for the visa for the long-term stay, but all they want to do in Korea is like travel, so they just drop their classes and don't care about grades. Also possible. In terms of student demographics, it varies, but I would say in general, like half the students in KU KLC are Chinese, like from China. A big percentage are from Russia, Mongolia, and Vietnam, and Japan. Those are the top 5 countries, and then we have all the other little countries like European countries, and then we have US. It's actually a really big mix. There are also a lot of people from like Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Morocco, India, but again, like those all make up maybe 30% of the student body. Like the majority would be like Chinese, and then the 4, and then all the rest. Gender-wise, there are normally just 2 or 3 males out of 14. The majority are actually female. I don't know why. Maybe it's a language school thing that most people who learn are female. And per level, you have 2 teachers. So we have 4 classes. So we have 50 minutes of class and then 10 minutes of break, and then 50 minutes of class and then 20-minute break, 50 minutes of class, 10-minute break, 50 minutes of class, and then class ends. Normally, the first 2 are taught by one teacher and the next 2 lessons are taught by another teacher. I think this is good so that, you know, you're learning from 2 different people. After each level, like everything is randomized. The teachers also know which level or class they're gonna teach 2 days before class starts. We know which class we're in 1 day before class starts. So everything is randomized. I've only ever gotten the same teacher twice. In level 2 and level 4, one teacher taught me twice, but all the other teachers are different teachers. So I've had a total of 11 teachers teach me. So you get a lot of different styles and you get a lot of different like teaching methods, which I find good. But I would say in general, they're all very seasoned teachers. They don't differentiate students who are like smarter or like who pay attention in class. They're really fair to everyone, I would say. And they don't see your background or your age. So I see that as a very positive thing. And yes, the teachers do teach us in Korean fully from day 1 of level 1. Gini, if I don't speak Korean, how am I gonna understand when they... You just do. For real, like level 1 was actually like one of the most memorable levels for me because the teachers taught us like kindergartners. They came in and they're like, 선생님, 학생, or like 뭐고요, like a lot of movements. They taught us like kindergartners. And yes, when they asked us questions, sometimes we were just like, oh, like you have no idea what they're saying, but Honestly, you learn so fast. And the reason why they don't teach us in English, for example, is because not all the students speak English. As I said, we have a lot of Chinese students, and among themselves they speak Chinese. We also have a lot of Russian-speaking students, and among themselves they speak Russian. And then you have everyone else. You know, I have a friend from Thailand. She doesn't really speak English. Our only common language in class was Korean, which is also good because then you get to practice your Korean in real life. It doesn't matter if your grammar sucks or if you don't have the vocab, you want to talk to your friend. You have to talk to your classmate in level 1, yeah? And so you just make it work. Honestly, and there's also translators, so you can, you know, kind of communicate. But yes, teachers teach you from day 1 in Korean. Because I already knew how to read Hangul and I knew some super basic grammar and sentences, so I was put in a class who everyone knew Hangul. So day 1, we started with pronunciation actually. We didn't start with learning Hangul, but there are other classes in level 1 that really start from Hangul. So people who really don't know anything from scratch. Again, placement test. But I think starting level 2 onwards, then all the classes start the same way. Remember when I say people fail? Yes, because we have grades. So we have midterms, final exams, and then we have quizzes. So quizzes are just like 10-minute quizzes once every week or once every 2 weeks. Midterms, which is speaking with the teacher one-on-one, writing, listening, and then reading tests as well. You also have writing homework that you have to submit. That's for all levels. In class, speaking grades when you're told to like discuss with your friends and things like that. In the higher levels, you also have presentations like actually with a PowerPoint and stuff. In the lower levels, then you have shorter speeches or presentations you have to do in front of class, just maybe 2 or 3 minutes. In level 6, I had like a 15-minute graduation presentation. And for midterms, we had an actual debate. Yes, 있습니다! You'll get there from level 1 of just 안녕하세요, 밥 같이 먹어요, and then you'll get to like debates in level 6. It's okay, I started from scratch too. If I can do it, you can do it. Fighting. And I think I'm gonna make a separate video about specifically like what did I learn in each level from 1 to 6 and what were like the presentations like, but that's going into specifics, so let's do it in another video. Let me know if you're interested in that. Next up, let's talk about extracurricular activities. Other than actual teaching classes, you also have like one special activity per semester, and that can be watching a performance, going to Lotte World, or we made a stamp when it was winter, and that's already included in your tuition fee. Of course, museums as well. We've gone to the National Museum of Korea and also the Contemporary Museum, where it's more like modern history, because that's also what we learned in level 5 and 6. For level 6, you also get a 2-day, 1-night graduation trip. We went to Gwangju and Buyo. It's different every semester, but it was all paid for. We stayed in a nice hotel, and I'm like, yes, I need to get my money back because I've been paying you so much throughout the 6 levels that I deserve this graduation trip. And you get a graduation ceremony as well for level 6. All the other levels, you just get a certificate of like completion. There are also 동아리s, which are like basically student clubs, but it's led by a teacher. So in KU KLC, as of right now, we have 4: Taekwondo, K-pop dance, which I joined since level 3 to 6, K-pop song, where you learn to sing songs. There's also Samulnori, which is the traditional, like the drum instrument thing. I joined that in level 1. The teacher was really fun. And that's all free. You can join that. It's like once a week. You can all join all 4. Technically, KU KLC also offers special classes outside of this. We also took like a kimchi making class, and that's an extra like 10 or 20,000 won that you pay yourself, and it's like after class hours. Something that's kind of sad though. Korean universities are known for their festivals, and it's normally in like summer festivals. KU had the Ipsilenti festival. Big names like IVE came, Taesung from Big Bang, J Park, Twas came. But you know, the area nearest to the stage, only students of that university can go really that up close. Are we students? No, we are not full students, so you cannot go all the way near to the stage. But you can go close to the stage, kind of, like outside the main area. But it's so full. But you technically can go, but so can everyone else too. So it's like it doesn't grant you special student privileges. But you can go to the library if you make a library card. And you do get a student ID. Next up, accommodation. Yes, we are nearing the financial part of this video. As far as I know, only new students are granted priority for the student dorms. In level 1, I signed up for the 2 people per room dorm, and it was 400,000 won per month. Luckily, I got a really good roommate. I know people who have been paired with people who aren't good as roommates and they had a hard time. It was on campus, so that's nice. It's very close to class. And then starting from level 2 until level 6, I stayed in a one room, the Korean term for a studio apartment. But I lived by myself. The one room was 450,000 won, but that's still excluding electricity and stuff, which can go up to maybe 20,000 won, I would say, per month. Luckily, my one room was super close to campus, so like a 2-minute walk to the KU KLC building or like a 10-minute walk to the other buildings, because you kind of switch buildings per level. So how much does one semester cost? One semester costs 1.8 million won for 3 months for one level. Food, it's case by case. In my case though, I eat out for lunch, which is around 10,000 won per meal. And then morning and evening, I normally just eat like fruits and yogurt and stuff, but I do snack a lot, maybe 15,000 per day. It's around 500,000 won per month. For transportation, I would say it's 50,000-60,000 won per month. Transport is actually pretty cheap in Korea. So within Seoul, like one tab is normally like 1,500 won to go anywhere, and if it's like a bit further, then you just add 100 won or 200 won, super affordable. There's also the climate card, which is like a monthly card, 60,000 won, and you can use it unlimited inside Seoul. For phone internet, my package was like 22,000 per month. Again, it depends on your phone provider. I got 6 gigabytes. And then for traveling and fun stuff, it depends on how much you spend. But I would say the basic would be this much per month. Can vary a lot more or a lot less depending on your lifestyle. How I paid for it is through my savings, because I worked before, so I had money saved up for Korea. I also have an active income because I'm a content creator. There are scholarships, but only if you're already a student. So in KU KLC, you've got the academic scholarship. The person with the top grade amongst all levels, so not just in your level, so levels 1 to 6, which is around 1,000 people, they get 100% scholarship as a cashback. So if I'm in level 1 and I got the best grade, in level 2, they're gonna return me my 1.8 million won. Like they're actually gonna transfer it to your account, but you need to be enrolled for 2 semesters or more. So if you only take level 1 and you don't take level 2, you're not eligible for that scholarship. The top, I think 0.5% of people, which is maybe 6 people, maybe 8 people, maybe 4 people, depending on the number of total students, they get 50% off. And then the top 3% of people, so that's around like maybe 40-50 people, according to the number of total students, they would get 30% of the scholarship. So I actually in level 1 got 50% scholarship. In levels 2 and 3, I got 30%. In levels 4 and 5, my grades dropped that I didn't get a scholarship. So it is possible, but it's not a pre-scholarship. It's like just an academic scholarship. Although I do have some classmates who have the GKS scholarship, but that's separate from KU KLC. I think it's from the government, and it's like a program for them to go for their masters. They got a full scholarship monthly allowance from the government, and they're required to do 1 year of language course before that, which is also paid for, but they do have to maintain a certain grade. So scholarships are available, but not from KU KLC itself. Also, you can do part-time work as a student, but again, this depends on your visa. For the language training visa, the D41, you're allowed to do part-time after 6 months of staying in Korea, and you can only do it up to, I think, 20 hours per week, something like that. I personally didn't do part-time work, so I don't know much information. However, if you're under a different visa, for example, my Japanese friends who are under the working holiday visa, then from day 1, they can already start working part-time. And for the final section, I'm gonna answer your questions about me learning Korean. First one, will you be fluent in Korean at level 6? The answer is, I wish. I mean, you do learn pretty complicated things at level 6. We debated about North and South Korea's reunification, whether English should be taught during early education, you know, things like that. But I don't think I'm fluent in Korean. I don't think I speak like a native for sure. I think I can hold daily conversations very well. I can understand the news because even in class they show us like news snippets, and that's our like listening thing at level 6. I can write essays, but probably not without the help of Papago, which is like the translating app we use for Korean. I can watch K-dramas and content interviews with no subtitles, and I'm very proud of that. I don't understand 100%, but I think I understand 80-90%, and the rest I can guess from context. And I think that's where understanding is, right? Like, you don't need to understand word per word, and at some point you stop listening per word. You start listening to the whole context, and I think that's fine. But I would say when I speak, I still make errors in grammar and stuff, so I do still have a long way to go to be fluent and native. But I think level 6 gives you a very strong foundation. It's the maximum of what textbooks and classes can teach you. The rest of it, you just have to practice and use Korean in real life. Which levels would I recommend people to take? It depends on your learning goals. If you want to just be able to converse, have daily conversations, I would say level 2 is actually enough. If you go through my channel, you can hear the level I am and which level I am in. This video was recorded in our final week of level 2 with my level 2 classmates. So we can converse pretty well. We speak our minds, but of course grammar is still lacking. It doesn't sound natural. But if you're happy with being able to converse in simple Korean, then level 2 is enough. But if you want a really strong foundation, I think you have to go to level 3. But if you want more complicated stuff, if you want to work in Korea or study in Korea, then I would say level 4, 5 is definitely necessary, because levels 1 until 3, a lot of the topics are about you, personal ideas and stuff. Levels 4 until 6, it's more about the world. It's about economics, it's about history, it's about politics, social stuff. You learn those kinds of vocab, and you learn how to speak your thoughts and gather information, and you learn to speak and write objectively. And if you just generally want to learn the language, going up to level 6 is useful. I don't know if it's how scientifically true this is, but I quite agree to the statement that whichever level you're learning, your real 실력, your real skill is actually 2 levels below. So if I'm at level 4 right now, my actual speaking skills and real life Korean is actually level 2, because it takes a while for you to apply what you learn in class and to actually use it in daily life. So if I finish level 6, my actual skill set is level 4 kind of. My personal tips if you want to learn Korean is find friends whose only common language with you is Korean, because then you would have to speak Korean to them. If you have people who speak your own native tongue or English, then you will not speak to them in Korean. I can almost guarantee that, because it's just more comfortable like that. But my best friend from levels 2 until 5, she's Japanese. You've probably seen her in other videos. Our only common language is Korean, because her English is meh and my Japanese is even more meh, so we have to speak Korean to each other. That helps a lot, because every time after class we would eat lunch together, talk about our lives when we travel together and things like that. It's always just in Korean. None of us are perfect in Korean, but we both have to speak it, and that actually helps in speaking practice as well. I also personally took vocal lessons here, and my vocal teacher isn't very good in English, so I have to speak to her in Korean, which is good, because I took vocal lessons because I wanted to fix my Korean pronunciation, and also because I like singing. I also joined the 동아리s, and the teachers, I think, were told to just speak to us in Korean. English is not a common language, and we're here to learn Korean anyway, so that was a good way to practice Korean outside of class. I still watch a lot of Korean content. In the beginning, I still used English subtitles, starting level 5 or 6, after I hit my language plateau in level 4. And then after that, I stopped watching content with subtitles, and I started understanding. It was hard at first, for sure. I couldn't understand much, but actually I did. It was just uncomfortable to keep thinking in Korean. Someone also asked about my study routine. I don't think I have a study routine. I study when I have to, and that is before a quiz, before midterms, and before final. So I would write notes in my textbook in class as the teachers explain stuff. At home, in a separate notebook, I would take those notes and make it into a compressed notes, just the important stuff notes, so that I can just focus on the teacher's explanation in class. And I also recommend, we have some vocab words that we have to learn. Don't translate them with a translator app before you hear the teacher's explanation. So I would really come into class blind. I don't do 예습, I just do 복습. Because when learning languages, a lot of words you cannot translate directly to your own native language. And I think it's important to hear the teacher's explanation, because they tell you the context and how to use the words. Because even if it's a one-to-one translation in a translator app, the context is different, and if you lose the context, then you're just not going to use the word well. So if you do want to look at the translation from the app, do it after, when you're tidying up your notes and then you're still like unsure what the word means, then you can find it in the translation app, but you already have the teacher's explanation in mind, so you can kind of like find a middle ground of how you're gonna understand that word. Because if you just want to know like the direct translation of words, you don't need to go to class. You can just do it at home with your translator app. How long do I study for tests? It depends. The higher I got with the levels, the longer the study time takes. I think in level 1, I barely studied, maybe like half an hour or 1 hour, because the words were still very easy for me in level 1. In level 6, I finally didn't procrastinate and studied for like 2-3 days in advance, maybe 3 to 4 hour study sessions per day, but case by case, person by person. What I also find funny is that I think I was the happiest and proudest of my Korean level in level 2. Even though like in retrospect, like my Korean sucked back then, but I was so confident because at level 2, you know enough grammar and vocab to actually speak your mind, even if it's in like dumbed down, like easier words. In level 3, 4, you start to feel the 부족함을 느끼게 됐어. Because you know the more complicated grammar and vocab, you know that you don't know them. In level 2, you're oblivious. You're like, oh, I can speak my mind, that I must be good in Korean, you know? So that's all I can share in this one video. I hope it was comprehensive and helpful to you. If you still have extra questions, drop them in the comments down below. 지금까지 게니시입니다. 들어주셔서 감사합니다. See you in the next video. Bye!